All right, thanks a lot for that. I wanted to make a couple of points on the IIP numbers. The manufacturing sector itself is 5.1% higher, as I just said, and the manner in which it's come, beating expectations hands down. 1.16 expectation, 4.1 delivery, March inflation also revised higher. But more importantly, the internals, manufacturing growing at 5.1%, capital goods at 11.1%. It's not just the one-off capital goods in April, it is March, February, Jan, November, December. I mean, it's been a sustained growth. And finally, at 11.1, you have to take note. So I would think that the L&Ts and the Voltas and the BHELs have something positive going today. L&T in particular.
All right, so talking about the capital goods stocks, Pragya, you're watching Alstom and Alstom TND today?
Well, that's right, Sonia. I don't know how much this news will really move the stocks, but this is in line with the government's Make in India initiative, and you are seeing a sort of trickling down of announcements from corporate India with respect to that. Now, this will possibly impact both the companies. From the news article, we can't understand, will the investment be more on Alstom India side or Alstom TND side? But nevertheless, the French group is looking to double its business in India. They're looking to invest almost about 800 million euros, which is roughly about 5,700 crores in the next 3 years. Now, how they planning to do this? They're looking to expand their manufacturing facility in Chennai. They're also looking to expand a new factory in the traction systems in Coimbatore this year. The company will start outsourcing components, so something on the lines of comments that we've seen up until now in terms of low-cost manufacturing that they're looking to target from this initiative. Also, there's a fair bit of a hiring of 200 engineers, which is on the anvil. Now, as far as Alstom is concerned, at least the Alstom TND business has been doing extremely well in terms of its overall financials and numbers. So that is the big area of focus, which also we're picking up from a lot of power secretaries that we've been interviewing up until now. They're expecting growth from dedicated freight corridor, from the Indian Railways, especially with respect to locomotives. They've also bid for certain signaling and networking systems in the eastern dedicated corridor. So on the back of all of that, they're looking to increase their focus in India. We'll have to see what comes by, but it's a hefty investment that at least they're promising.
The attitude at least is positive.
Yes.
And today, I think these stocks also benefit from that slightly positive hue on capital goods.
Yes.
Okay, we've seen a goodish bit of negative news on Infosys and TCS coming up on Friday. Rima, some clarifications came from the company. What does it mean for the stocks today?
Well, first, for the benefit of our viewers, both Infosys as well as TCS were down close to about 1.5% to 2.5% on Friday, because there were reports which suggested that the US government will open an investigation against the two companies for possible H-1B visa violations. But now both the companies over the weekend have clarified that they're fully compliant with the US visa regulation norms. In fact, NASSCOM has also come out in support of these companies. And apart from the clarification from the IT companies, if you actually see the trade, the trade which took place in them on Infosys as well as TCS on Friday, there was no increase in the delivery volumes. So TCS, in fact, saw delivery-based, volumes of 175 crore. This is 30% less than, the 10-day average, delivery volumes. Infosys, on the other hand, saw delivery volumes of about 290 crore, but that is in line with the general average that they saw. So two bits of news. One, in Friday's trade, even when the stocks were weak, there was no increase in delivery-based volume. And secondly, over the weekend, the companies have clarified that they're fully complied and they will, obviously fully support the investigation and provide all help that they need. So we could expect a bit of a recovery in the stocks, at least, in today's trade.
All right, thanks for that, Rima. I think that will be much awaited, of course. Sonia, Eicher Motors, why you're watching?
Well, we all know the story of Eicher Motors, but today the reason I'm watching the stock is because CLSA has finally initiated coverage. It was the last man standing. It was only one of the only big brokerages that did not have coverage on Eicher Motors, and now they've initiated coverage, and they have a huge upside. They have a target price of 21,800, which is a 25% upside to the current market price. Remember, Eicher Motors has been a big outperformer this year. It's up about 15-16% this year compared to the markets, which are down about 3-odd%. The views of CLSA are pretty much the same as what other brokerages have. The two new Royal Enfield platforms that they're going to launch this year will help them in terms of higher growth. Exports will be a strong growth driver because most of the big motorcycle markets don't have a mid-sized luxury motorcycle platform. The Harley is too expensive for many motorcycle markets. So Eicher is looking to branch out Royal Enfield into many of the larger two-wheeler motorcycle markets globally. So they have expectations of a 30% CAGR growth in the 250cc motorcycle segment in 5 years, and Royal Enfield will deliver about 33% volume growth. So perhaps you could expect some up moves over there. But there's some news coming in on the selection process for the MD and CEO posts of 5 PSU banks, which will be a 2-day process. We have been talking about this for the last many days. Incidentally, you're watching out for the Bank Nifty this morning?
Yes, this is a news that's been in the making for some time now. One is hoping that there will be some private sector applicants or some external applicants altogether. I mean, the chairman post has Ravi Venkateshan. A rank outsider has been selected as chairman. So one wonders if in the MD post also we will get someone really outside. Actually, the current EDs will also take a lot of those positions, but they will apply and they could do well. There will be a lot of PSU banks which none of the private guys will want to even touch. But you never know, from the lower rungs in private sector banks, people who have no chance. Mr. Aditya Puri is going to stay for the next 5 years. Chanda Kochar is going to stay for the next 10 years. You never know. There could be lower level people who are, willing to apply. We could land up with some fairly good appointments. So that's a process we will watch. Okay, just to come back to the Bank Nifty and the inflation numbers which might affect them. While the inflation number came in line, the fundamental message from the inflation figure is that inflation fall is over. Inflation number was rapidly falling. Negative numbers in WPI was because India was not able to consume. The demand slowdown was so serious. So was the global slowdown coming at the same time. Now that commodity price fall globally has already stopped. And domestically, look at the way the IIP numbers, the thing that they're showing is that some bit of, production has returned. There is still a gap. Many of the sectors still have unutilized capacity like cement. But still the gap is closing. And you can see it, core CPI, which is the non-volatile elements, that has risen to 4.7. It was 4.2% and it had gone as low as 2.6 sometime last year. So there's a momentum that's rising. And if you look at the month-on-month inflation, it's very clear. April over March rose by 0.4%, but May over April rose by 0.7%. And then again, if you strip off vegetables and transportation, which, absorbs the diesel cost, then again the core momentum is 5.5%. Looks like inflation on a sustainable basis, underlying inflation is going to be 5.5%, which means further rate cuts are out of the way. That can be a minor negative, especially because the FM has just told them to cut base rates on Friday. Coming together, it can be a minor negative, but I'm fondly hoping that the growth pickup in the IIP will counter
overshadow all of that.
Here.
Okay. Well, moving on, Pragya is watching NTPC this morning. Let's find out why. Pragya?
Well, this could have a bearing on the stock, given the fact that the company has spoken about its inorganic plans, but there was a very slow and a dismal process that we saw as far as the company's takeover of any kind of private stranded power assets is concerned. So now we understand from media reports is that the company intends to buy stressed power assets from the central and the state sector units. Projects which have been in the making for long, but of course are stranded for the same reasons like the private sector as well, land, those kind of issues. Now the company is in talks with Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal, state governments, at least at this point of time. It's planning to create JVs with the state government where NTPC will take on a majority stake. Cash, etc., of course, is not a big problem. The company has already spoken about deploying almost about 10,000 crores worth of cash solely towards inorganic plans.
That the cash on their books, 10,000 crores?
More than that. But that is the kind of deployment that they want to do only on the inorganic plans. Now, what's on the shopping list is, of course, the 5,000 megawatt worth of assets from the Rajasthan Rajya Vidyut Nikam. They are also implementing a 900 megawatt capacity, so that'll be a huge addition to NTPC's overall capacity. 1,300 megawatt of Saputara thermal power plant from the Madhya Pradesh generating company, the oldest power plant that we have in the state, and another 2,400 megawatt from West Bengal, which they're looking to take over from the Damodar Valley Corporation. They've also purchased assets from them in the past as well. Now, the company had flagged this off in October 2014 that they're looking to buy these assets. They had received a lot of interest from a lot of the private sector people as well, but I think, the news flow on that kind of died down because of the fact that clearances did not move forward. So let's see if this does fructify into something. Remember, NTPC has been falling short of its capacity addition targets for about 2 years now. So if they do manage to, score on this inorganic plan, then that'll be a good thing.
I absolutely agree with that. Actually, this is an incomplete story. the number of bankers who are on their knees in front of NTPC to take over their power assets, Abhijit Power, for instance. I mean, so many of them are rank bankrupt promoters. They're just begging NTPC and Tata Power to take over assets, more NTPC, because it's a state-owned company. Then there is no question of CVC or, CBI investigation. NTPC is sitting in a princely position, and they can really pick and choose. But one hopes that both political and the professional, the technocrats in NTPC show a little bit of verve. There is no point in putting fresh power generation assets. There are so many beleaguered promoters and so many people who are just waiting to be taken, but they come with a lot of debt.
And on that,
you'll have to wait and see what NTPC decides, but that's one shortcut. See, the number of bad assets are probably 50,000 crore in power. At least 10,000 crore could get resolved.
Yeah, and their debt equity is substantially better than a Tata Power also. So even if they take it on, and with the kind of execution capabilities that the company has, you hope that there would be a turnaround, at least as far as a lot of these assets are concerned.
All right, well, let's do a quick recap then of our top 10 stocks today, and then thank our colleagues for joining us. Tata Motors, Dish TV, Cairn India, Vedanta, Tata Power, Reliance Infra, L&T, BHEL and Infosys and TCS. That's not all. We're also tracking the Bank Nifty, Eicher Motors, NTPC, Alstom India and Alstom TND.